Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, TheRumpledOne, coming to you Monday, August the 14th, the year's 2023. Let's talk trading. Change for the better. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine. I've been talking about changing or making changes if you want to get better, because if you can't get better unless something changes. And so how do you change for the better? Well, first, you have to have something that's referred to as an honest evaluation of self. You have to look in the mirror and honestly evaluate what you're doing. And you have to say, okay, this is something I'm doing that isn't working or is producing negative results, so I need to stop. Or there might be something that you're not doing, and because you're not doing it, you're getting negative results. So you say, well, I better start doing that. I mean, this is true in life. I mean, smoking, what you eat, how much you drink, etc., etc. But in trading, there's one inherent problem, and that is it's not going to work each and every time. So you might have your system, your plan, your method, and you're going to have to make a mental change that says, I'm going to do what my plan, method, system tells me to do, and I'm going to realize that it's not going to work every time, but I am going to follow it faithfully. A simple thing is a trade that I put on today. I didn't take my 2 pips, and then it ran against me, and then it's come all the way back and then some. And I think you've seen this screen before, and these diamonds or dots are indicator too. But actually, these are diamonds. These circles here, these are dots. It's just one of the indicators I used to put this up. I called it a dot indicator because that's what I did at first, and then I found the diamond wingding. But I'm getting off topic. If I get a close above the indicator 2 dot and that candle's green, my method says go long, especially when the dots change. So here you had a magenta, here you had an aqua dot. It says go long, and then it says stay in the trade until you get a magenta dot, or there's some other signal that might tell you to get out. Sometimes you can just look at the chart. For example, here you see it went above it and then dropped below that 1 ball. That says, you know what, I've got 10, 15 pips in the bank, take it. And then here it closed above the aqua dot. I could have entered long, or I could just sit on my hands and wait. Point is, it's a very simple method. That's all I have to do. Or on the other hand, here you had a change in dots from aqua to magenta. Right here you had a close below on a bearish candle. Go short. And yeah, it's easy to see in hindsight. And that's part of the trick, is that if you trust the system, you trust the method, and realize that it's not going to work every time, but it's going to work more often than not, and so long as you employ good money management, you'll be able to walk away with a profit. Now you might go, well, TheRumpledOne, you always talk about horizontal lines. Yeah, that's true. Now you use those methods too. But I just wanted to show you this one to illustrate a point. But we can look at horizontal lines. We have the previous highs and low breakout, or we can just go to the simple sweet spot line. Once again, the last half hour, you had a long trigger at 30, short trigger at 25. Just take the trade. And then if you want to, you could even add on at every line, but I usually don't add on at every line. I'll just try and ride it to make the pips. But whether you use dots or squigglies or horizontal lines, it's still the same. You have a method, a system. You have to follow it each and every time to the letter. You have to have the understanding that sometimes you're going to take a loss. You also have to have the understanding that overall should be able to walk away at the end of the session with a profit. And that's the change that you have to make, is that in most cases you really have to internalize and accept the fact that sometimes you are going to take a loss. And it's hard for some people. It really is. And I will raise my hand. It's hard for me. I hate losing. When I was a little kid, if I lost the game, I'd upset the board, turn over the checkerboard or the Chinese checkers or the Monopoly, whatever. I hated losing. But in trading, you almost have to learn to love losing, especially losing small, because that means, okay, that it's not working out, I'm going to get out with a small loss. So for example, in fact, this might have been the trade that got me in trouble, now that I think about it, was I entered somewhere, let's see, this closed above, I entered, price went up, then price went down, closed below, and then things went south. So, change for the better. That's what you have to do. And I'm sure chances are you don't have to change your method. You may have to change your money management, but the thing that you most likely have to change is how you interpret a loss. Because if a loss upsets you, you got to change that. Because you don't want to go into a tailspin and wind up going into tilt mode and doing a lot of stupid things that you only will regret. Now remember what I had said earlier, we were looking at the other chart, that we had a 3-ball, I think, or 1 ball over here, or maybe I'll just switch back over. And if I can find which chart I was looking at. Oh, right here. I said you would exit out here because that's just looking at the chart. That just seems to be a smart thing to do. And then, as I said, this closed above. You could have re-entered long, and right now you'd be up on this one trade. If you re-entered long at the open of that candle, let's see, these state change bars, sometimes these won't give me. Well, let's just put the cursor here. Actually at the open, it says about 54. We hit 64. So there's a possibility taking 10 pips off that trade in under 10 minutes. But once again, can you follow that system? Can you ignore things that aren't part of that system? So for example, this two ball, it's like, ooh, do you want to trade against the two ball? Because if you're doing, that's all you're doing is, it's like, well, don't even really look at that much. I was using that more for swing points. And you see how if you just follow the dots. But what's really tough is when price actually dips below the dot, but the candle isn't closed, and then you exit, but then it closes above the dot and you kick yourself. But see, that's just not having the discipline to follow the method. And it's just such a simple method. It really is. But we are our own worst enemy at times. We focus on things such as the profit and loss as opposed to focusing on the system or the method, and we wind up taking a lot less, and or really like to say leaving more on the table, leaving a bunch on the table, when the reality is when we exited it wasn't on the table, but then all of a sudden the kitchen door swung open and they brought out a big batch of shrimp. I think that's a better analogy than leaving something on the table. Because until you exit the trade, it's not on your plate. So, fellow traders, I'd like to hear back from you. I'm curious if any of that hit home, if you can take any of that and use it in your trading, and maybe if you can let other traders know what the difference is. What's that one thing that you need to change? And as I mentioned, it's probably not switching methods. Even though you guys know, or you boys, girls, and non-binaries know that I come up with, I don't know how many different things, either indicators or methods or systems every year, only because I have so much screen time now over the past 2 decades that sometimes my mind will just all of a sudden put something together. It's like, oh yeah, that seems obvious. And I was chatting with Walmart earlier. He's got chores to do, so he couldn't come online with me today. But I was saying, yeah, the state change to me is like one of the biggest things I came up with. And I've never seen it explained or presented that way before. I said, maybe that's what people will remember me for, because to me it really simplifies the matter, because price can't reverse without a state change. So, fellow traders, hope you're having a profitable week so far, and when you come back to trading, always remember, never forget, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is the Rumpled One, over and out.